أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you for joining us for this 10th session. Subhanallah, we already are completing 1/3 of the holy month of Ramadan. Today being also the Wafat day of Janab Sayyidah Khadija, we would like to begin by conveying our condolences to the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib Zaman of Al-Faraja, and also to our great scholars in Maraja, and to all Mu'mineen who will be commemorating this Wafat. Also during our presentation, we will discuss something about Janab Khadija, because it's a lady which we should try to remember often on account of her great contribution towards Islam, as we'll inshallah discuss briefly. So let's continue with our hadith from the book Combat. Brother Ali has in the chat, Brother Ali has put all the links for the book, also for the slides, and also for the recording. So you have all those links, you can see it there. So yesterday we discussed this hadith from, I believe, 6th Imam. Yes, we were discussing about, at least we discussed completely, and then we can, yeah. We were discussing about lisan, tongue. SubhanAllah, there can be a lot of discussion about this particular thing. I remember reciting majlis just on the tongue, at least I think 3 majalis when I was in Vancouver. I think it was during the period of Ramadan only, from 19th to 21st. Inshallah, we will cover gradually about this thing. It's a very important topic on the usage of tongue. Right? But let's continue. As you said yesterday, that Imam said in this hadith, this is the 6th Imam, right? That we should be careful, especially avoid hypocrisy. Should make a point that what is on the tongue should be in line with what is in our hearts. And if we don't agree with that, the better is, for example, we just maintain silence, but not, for example, say something which is against our heart. And of course, we also talked about farida, that this is an obligation given on the tongue. So that was Imam Jafar Sadiq Islam. Today we will discuss something similar, but from the same book, but this is from Mu'mineen. So there are long hadiths. This hadith and also the long hadith by 6th Imam, because what these hadiths talk about the responsibilities of the limbs which Allah has given us. In discussing those responsibilities, Imams have discussed one by one those limbs. So we continue today. This is Imam Mu'mineen saying, وَقَالَ عَزَّ وَجَلَّ. Now he's talking about, again, immediately quoting the ayat of Quran. إِذَا تَرَكَّوْنَهُ بِأَلْسِنَتِكُمْ وَتَقُولُونَ بِأَفْوَاهِكُمْ مَا لَيْسَ لَكُمْ بِعِلْمٍ وَتَحْسَبُونَهُ هَيِّنًا وَهُوَ عِندَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ ثُمَّ اسْتَعْبَدَهَا بِطَاعَتِهِ. And then, of course, we will only discuss one ayat today, because within this passage there are 2 verses of Quran. So Imam says, he has said, when you receive it with your tongue, something comes to you and just on your mouth, right? You receive it now. And then you just say with your mouth, regarding which you do not have a certainty, you do not have knowledge. But it just, for example, it's hearsay, people just talk about it, and we try to spread it. Sometimes something comes to us, and then we want to just show to people that I'm the first one to break the news. So in that excitement that I'm the first one to do that, I would also try to spread the thing. But we are forgetting that you want to be first one and get a credit of to inform something new to your participants or to your friends or to your family or to your circle, that is fine. You get excitement that one particular way that, oh, mashallah, Ali or Fatima or no, or Aliya has brought a news, something which was new to us. But because in the excitement of being the first, we forget most important thing. Even before talking to people, did we confirm this news? Did we ascertain the news or not? No. So you can see Allah says, this is Surah Nur, ayat number 15, right? It says, Bismillah. When you received it with your tongues, and just say with your mouth, regarding which you do not have the knowledge. That means there was no knowledge. It's just hearsay. People just say, and you consider this thing as easy matter. It's just, what is a big deal? I just got a news from here, I just send it here. What's a big deal? But Allah says, no. But with Allah, that is severe, that is grievous. Now, this is regarding slander or news about people, events about people, talking about people, which we spread, especially if that can mean that we are spreading slander or something. So, of course, Allah, as usual, mashallah, may Allah raise his status. If you look at tafsir, some of this tafsir already available in English translation. All those which are available, I have in my library. I try to collect it immediately because we need to refer to it. So this is volume 29, page 43, right? I just have read only a few points here now. It says, avoid transmission of news without investigation or contemplation. Both the thing. First of all, investigate that what has come to you, is it correct or not? Is it come from a reliable source or not? Who told you? Be careful, especially nowadays in this day of social media, whereby it is just cheap and free to get and forward. We should be very careful. So investigation, not only that, Matwai says investigation is your duty. But even after investigation, something tells you that this does not sound correct, although it came from Hasnain or it came from, for example, somebody else whom you trust, or anybody. And even then, it doesn't sound true to me. Let me think about it. So he says both investigation and contemplation. Allah has given, remember in one of the lectures I said, the best of all the creation, which Allah also takes pride, is the intelligence, which He has given to human beings. So let us apply that. It's very important. Then he says, you plunge and immerse into this slander. Now, this is something which, when you received it, so immediately, and he says the reason is that, for example, Allah says, just through your mouth. The fact that Allah used the word from your mouth, that means it's supposed to be there only now. So you can see, you plunged and immersed into this slander. Something came to you without thinking, without contemplating, without investigating. We plunged into it. Now, as I said, that we're excited. Oh, we received something new, and let me share with people. No, we plunged into this slander when you received it, and passed the news from one tongue to another. No. He says one tongue to another because Allah says, no? Just from your mouth, no? Speaking of what you had no knowledge of. It is serious with God because it is false allegation and slander. So you can see, subhanAllah says, with you, you think this is not immaterial, this is insignificant, this is a minor thing. No, وَهُوَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ. With Allah, that is great. Great in the sense you can imagine, Allah says something great, and especially when it comes to slander. And when we slander, when we try to backbite or talk ill about a believer, that is really something very serious. So the misuse of tongue, you can see how has Allah discussed about it. Now, of course, Allah also discusses that this ayat, if you look at this ayat, especially with Ahl Sunnah, they use this ayat to bring about the story of Aisha, that Aisha, somebody accused her of wrong thing, and then, of course, this ayat came to defend her. So he has discussed all that discussion, and then he proves that this is not possible. But we will not get into this because we are not just doing tafsir of Quran to get into all this asbab al-nuzul and then counter it. He says, no, the Sunnis believe that this was done to defend Aisha. The Shias believe this was done to defend Maria Kiptia. He tried to, in his tafsir, he includes the entire discussion, the entire report which has come from Sunni all the way, and then he tries to dissect it. In the same way, he also brings the Sunni Shia report. But that is, those who are interested, as I said, this translation is available online also, and also in print. You can look at it, it's an interesting thing. But our discussion here is that, responsibilities of our tongues. And especially this is the best time. Brothers and sisters, Ramadan is the best time to train our tongues. Often, for example, there's a beautiful hadith which says, even somebody were to swear at you, somebody were to shout at you, somebody were to even accuse you, right? Or say certain things, and you have the answer. You can answer back. You can, for example, shout back. You can swear back at that person, but you will just answer a simple thing. That what you are saying, I know what to say, but I am fasting. Because I'm fasting, I'm restrained. I cannot stoop low the way you are doing it, right? So you can see your answer will be just, I'm fasting. And once you see I'm fasting, don't say, oh, in the time after iftar, now you're going to go back to that person. No, you got the time to just remain silent and let it go. Of course, if somebody is accused of something wrong, then you have to clear your name, is a different thing. But you know that people are just saying things out of provocation. So this is responsibility regarding tongue. Then, of course, Imam also talks about other limbs, which we'll discuss perhaps tomorrow or later on. But he says, فَهَذِهِ فَرِيضَةٌ جَامِعَةٌ وَاجِبَةٌ عَلَى الْجَوَارِحِ. Subhanallah. Do you see the words which Imam is using? فَهَذِهِ فَرِيضَةٌ. This is about a compulsory, comprehensive duty. Jamiyatun, and it is a command of all. Wajibatun ala al-jawari, and of course this is what obligatory on the limbs. So the wordings which Imams are using is very important. Farida, wajiba, jamia, that means all of them. Nobody is exempted from this kind of thing. To keep in mind, and this is one of the best ways, is we are trying to do this jihad akbar, jihad of nafs. The tongue is something which people misuse a lot. Let us try to be amongst listeners instead of just speakers all the time. Speak, of course, when you are given a chance, otherwise, let's be listener. If you listen more, you become wise. If you speak less and listen more, you'll be wise. I always give this example before I come to the next slide, that there was a lady in America. She used to write columns. She was so popular that 90 million Americans used to read her column, and because of that, she was given the title "the Queen of America" on account of so many people used to follow her. I think her name was Ann Landers. Now she has died. So one day I tried to see that what is the reason that she becomes so popular, and she's trying to advise some people. So apparently, I came across an interview. There is a magazine which still being published, Psychology Today, because when I was doing my bachelor's, my major was in sociology, and within sociology, you do some courses on psychology. So then I thought, let me take this magazine, Psychology Today, whereby they interviewed this lady. And they asked her, what is the secret of your success? What has made you so popular that today you are considered as a Queen of America? And you know what she said? You'll be amazed. Her answer was so simple. She said, I'm a good listener. I'm a good listener, you can say. So that is it, that let's be good listeners and let's talk less and be very careful, investigate things before we spread things about fellow believers or anybody for that matter. As I had promised that today also is the wafat day of Sayyidah Khadija, so let's quickly look at a few points, right? We have a very good habit that after namaz, we have this practice. Now, we also try to pass over to our children, I see this thing doing, that we recite a short ziyarat. Now, there is what merits itself on its own, perhaps later on we'll discuss now. But when you do this thing, those short ziyarat which you recite, and when you teach your children at madrasa, even in your family, that they also recite it, make sure that they should add this line. Assalamu alayki ya Khadija al-Kubra, al-Mu'mineen wa rahmatullah. Because her contribution was great. Khadija died in 619 CE, Common Era, in the same year as Hazrat Abu Talib. Prophet called it as the Amul Huzn, the year of sadness. The study Quran, those of you who know about it, is a compilation by a number of scholars, and editor is Sanasal. Even they write about Khadija. They said the Prophet's wife Khadija may be cited as an example of a woman who possessed her own wealth and ran her own business. She was also the first person to hear the message revealed to Muhammad, the first to accept it, and one of Muhammad's most important supporters during the early years of his prophecy. You can imagine, it's not only with us, but even they say this thing, the scholars, right? They said, Subhanallah. So the Quran, page number 416, you can check it. Prophet's countenance, character, manners, and dealings were so impressive to Khadija that she proposed a marriage to him. Imagine, what was she looking for? A person who had all the wealth. There was one scholar who used to say that if you were to convert the wealth Khadija had to present day wealth, then she was even richer than the queen. Now, of course, the queen is dead, but there was a time, for example, we were told that queen was rich. So she was even richer than queen, you can imagine. But she, in spite of having all this wealth, what was she looking for? She was looking for a partner whose countenance, whose character, whose manners and dealings with people should be such that it impressed her. She proposed the marriage. A proposal which he accepted, that Mr. Prophet, and when since she was a person of great nobility of character and beauty of soul. The Prophet accepted, besides that, of course, for Khadija, because she was nobility of character, her character, and beauty of soul, subhanAllah. Right? This is, I know, so the semester is great scholar, you can just listen to him when he says. Again, he continues in this book, Muhammad, man of Allah. The orphan who had suffered so much loneliness, financial difficulty, referring to Rasulullah, he's referring to Prophet, financial difficulty and hardship in everyday life, was blessed by Allah with a wife who loved him dearly, who believed completely in him, and who had the means of providing the kind of social status in Mecca which would later allow him to carry out his religious activities on a wider basis. And after the call of heaven came to him, that means when revelation started coming, to establish firmly the seeds of religious community of Islam. So do you see the support given by Janab Khadija to Rasulullah was so fundamental, so instrumental in establishing even the Ummah. This is what the scholar said. And that's why I said earlier that when you recite Ziyarah to remember the Prophet, and Imam Ali, and Bibi Fatima, and Imam Hassan Hussein, and other Imams, let us add Janab Khadija also. Right? The marriage with Khadija was of very great significance in the life of Prophet Islam, for it provided for him the companion upon whom he could rely completely in the most difficult period of his life, who was endowed with necessary moral and spiritual virtues to act as the perfect wife of God's most perfect creature and the mother of prophetic family, the Ahlul Bayt, whose light was later to illuminate the world. So you can see that Khadija's role in establishing family, and not only, but even the Prophet's family, which is not only what community, but even the Prophet's family, Ahlul Bayt, right? She had that role, that she being the special person with her Prophet who was the most perfect person. So do you see, when people really study the life of Janab Khadija independently, and when Allah is blessing them to summarize what they understand, this is what Janab Khadija was. We are thankful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to be the followers of Ahlul Bayt, and those who, amongst everything they do, one of the things that we also commemorate her wafat. Now you can imagine, Prophet has so many wives, and there's so many occasions in life to celebrate, but we make a point that when it comes to Nabi Khadija, once a year, we do remember her on account of her great contribution. I will stop here for questions because we have promised to give you 10 minutes over the weekend. Bismillah.
Thank you. If you have questions, you can at this time come off mute or put your question in the chat.
Oh no, we don't have those. No, this during those times. No, when I was there at that time, we did not have all the technology to put this on the what website. So no, I don't have those things. I have no those notes. Maybe when handwriting or just notes. I'll check it. No. Those days we did not have all the facilities to put on the online or digital format. No, these are many years ago. I left Franco in 2006. No, so it's long. But just was trying to say that we can talk a lot about tongue. It's so important aspect of it. Any other questions? Any clarifications? So let me just prepare you mentally that inshallah I can see people are coming late. You know that after 15th of Ramadan we may change time. We will just start earlier. We will announce inshallah whether it is 5:45 or 5:30, because today the time of what Azan here in Toronto was 5:32, and we still get even earlier. So we just keep in mind, we'll announce the time, but we may be changing time after 15, inshallah.
Sheikh, there's one question looking for any recommendations to learn more about Bibi Khadija, any books or articles that you might have.
Yeah, there is a scholar I'd seen some years ago. Since you're asking me just what I remember, besides of course what I quoted, this man and what is a book, Muhammad the Man of Allah, by this. If you can get this book, it's a small book. Muhammad Man of Allah is not a very big book. You can get that book. There's a section of Zainab Khadija, but there's a life history of Zainab Khadija itself by Razavi, I think. Askar Razavi. This scholar has written a book on restatement of Islamic history, and then also Life of Zainab Khadija. I'll try to get the exact name and title, but I remember during the time when I was a resident alim, every year I had to give lecture, so I'll try to collect all the material, and so there is a book. Yes, let's see if I can. But nowadays, of course, just Google and you'll see. But yeah, we should study the life of Khadija. She was a great lady and a great contributor to Islam. Good, then inshallah, we will take your permission. Please keep us in your du'as as we are approaching 1/3 of Ramadan now, 10th of Ramadan. We'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. And before 15th, we will announce the new time, inshallah. Now, this is again, as I said, that please, if you have questions on fiqh, you can email me, because especially month of Ramadan, I don't want to give answers for which I have not given thought or I have not researched them. So I don't say no to your question, but if there's anything about fiqh, just email me, and inshallah, if I know the answer, I'll try to. My email is there here. Here's the email. Inshallah. Thank you. وصلي الله على الطاهرين. اللهم صل على محمد.
Thank you, Sheikh. Thank you, everyone.